here's what I would do. I would skip a couple lines and do like a 4, 3, 2, 1, kind of spaced out 1, 2, 3. We're going to want you to know the names of some different places. So if you have the 4 is going to be in the thousands place. Yes, it'd be 4,000 if you were to say this number. So 4,000. So 4 is in the thousands place. The 3, if you didn't have the 4 on there, if you covered up the 4, it'd be 321. So the 3 is in the hundreds. 2 is in the tens. 1 is in the ones. Are you with me up to there?
Yes. Wait,
okay.
let me catch up. No.
So.
Just let me catch up.
So.
No, I only need like one. Huh, I can't see.
Now, if you have the number 0.1, and I'm going to erase this in a second, but if you have the number 0.1, you could write that if you wanted to as 1 over 10. Does that sound familiar? Okay, that if you did 1 divided by 10, you get 0.1. That's why when you go up, like the 1 here is in the 1 spot, 2 is in the tens, but this 1 here, the 0.1, they call that the tenths. So it's similar to tens, but it ends with a THS, so TENTHS, so the tenths. And the 0.1 is going to be the 1/10 because 0.1 is the same as 1 over 10, or 1/10. If you were to have the number 0.12, that'd be the same as 12 over 100. So if I didn't have this 3 on there, maybe I should erase my 3 for now. If I didn't have the 3 on there, the 0.12 would be 12 hundredths. So 2 is in the hundredth spot. And now if I were to add my 3 on there, 0.123 would be the same as 123 over anyone? 1,000. So that's why they refer to that 3 there, that 3 spot is as the 1,000th spot. Kind of ran out of space, but the 1,000th spot. How are we doing? Makes sense? Yeah, Abby?
Well, what happens if there's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10?
So after the 0.123?
Once it's 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Once it gets to like the double digit, once it gets to 10, then is it basically 1, 0?
Oh, I just put numbers in those spots. That is, we're just looking at each one of those decimals. So it doesn't have to be 0.123. It could be 0.248619234. Blah blah blah. I was just trying to look at like 3 spots to the right of the decimals. That's actually good.
So it doesn't really go.
No, so it doesn't have to be the 3, but like that third decimal point to the right of the decimal, that's going to be the 1,000th spot. Good. So I was looking at the section trying to figure out, well, how could I explain this? And I think really the key is when you're comparing decimals. So I want to say when comparing decimals. So when comparing decimals, you can add zeros after the numbers. So after, you can add zeros after the number. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're comparing 2 numbers, and one of them is going to be a 4.2, and one is 4.213. And the question is, which one of those 2 is larger? Well, it looks like I lost wireless up there. So if you have there it goes. So if you have the 4.2 and you have the 4.213, what I mean to say is that you can add zeros here after that 2. You can't add zeros like between the 4 and the 2 or between the 2 and the decimal point, but if your number ends and you have a decimal, so if I just had the number 4, I can't start adding zeros to the 4 because now 4 becomes 4,000. But if I have something with a 0.2, I can add zeros after that. And for me, it makes a lot more sense that now which one's going to be larger when I see the zeros on there. Top one, bottom one? Bottom one. Because 213 is bigger than 200. So the 4.213 is going to be larger. And that's really kind of the last of the notes largely was, so say we had a different example, and make this one 3.1246 and 3.124. The larger one is the one that's on top. And if you're not sure, you could take and put a 0 there below the 6, and it's like, okay, the 0 is less than the 6, so the top one has to be bigger. Does that help? Not help? The very last thing that I saw in the notes in the section would be, how do you say these? And I had one person ask that while people were finishing up the test. If you have the decimal point could be that word and. So this word right here is going to be 3 and 124. Then we go up to the very top part of your notes where our places where the first one was tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So it would be 3 and 124 thousandths. But then you have to have the THS at the end. So whatever's before the decimal you can say normally, and for the decimal, and then you count out the 124 thousandths. This one here would be 3 and 1,246. Instead of thousandths now, it would be 10 thousandths.
Oh, there it goes.
Maybe if I stand over here. We will be getting better wireless signal soon.